welcome back to another video. This is Daniel, and today I will continue where we left off last week. But before we get started, I quickly want to show you some little experiment that I did. I'm pretty sure I showed this to you before, but I added the new objects, and yeah, it all looks quite a lot better now. You can see we will need to work a lot with textures on the legs. That will be an area that we'll have to look into in particular. So this should change a lot down the line. Same with the back here. This will all be outlined with textures and look a lot better in the end. But otherwise, you know, and also I should mention that this all doesn't have any normal maps yet. I think maybe this is the only part that has, I believe, or maybe it doesn't even have. So yeah, all in all, it will just look a lot better very soon. So yeah, everything looks great so far. I'm excited for the result. So let's go back and continue our our work. So should we maybe begin to look at the helmet a little bit here? And although I had this much time to think about it, I'm still haven't really decided what I want to do with it. Let's quickly remind us of where we're at. Let's look at the high res and the low res, see how they compare. Alright, so first of all, it's very tricky because it's very hard to evenly add loops all throughout this. Alright, I'll try to take a mixed approach. So doing partially a new mesh and also, but still reusing some parts that we already created. It's going to be a bit of a tricky thing, but bear with me. I'll show you how I go about it. Let's take these two parts. Yeah, no, we can actually just select it like this, maybe. There we go. I'll copy them and separate them into a separate object. So this is going to be the new object we work with, and I'll hide the helmet for a second here. So the first thing I want to do is to make this a bit more detailed. So I'll bevel this edge, and we may actually leave the other one as is. So yeah, that looks alright to me. And we'll do something similar on the other side. So let's go over here and bevel this as well. Just a bit, but that is all it takes for this to yeah, have less issues with the shading and everything. Or at least I hope so. Alright, let's bring back our previous mesh one more time and we'll look at the next part. I'll now take this ring here that goes all around, which is a bit wavy. Maybe we could have done a better job in the initial modeling, but it's still okay, it's not too bad. And we need any parts here. I think we'll also take this lower section with it. I'm just control clicking on these parts. And with this selected, let's just make a copy and again separate with P. And now we can just simply merge this new one to the other by selecting two and then hitting Ctrl J. So now that we're here, we have to decide how much we want to increase the sort of resolution of this. And I have a feeling that just doubling it may be a little bit too much, but let's take a look. Well, I think I'll still just try to double the number of loops by, you know, select one ring, go to select loops, edge rings, and then we will just subdivide this, and then well, select these rings again, and then I'll use my loop tools to just relax them maybe 3 times just to be sure. Should still be very close to the original mesh, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's just check maybe to make sure. A bit hard to say if that's still fine. But I think I'll keep it at this resolution after all. It looks very smooth, it's still manageable, and should be just fine. I would like to try to snap this to our original mesh, but only this part, so I'll separate it one more time after all. Let's use the shrink wrap modifier and project it down to this one. And it did make quite a big of a difference, so maybe that was a good idea. Let's separate this all for a second again. Just want to make sure that none of these points are in a weird spot, but they look just fine, so we'll just apply this, and I'm happy with the result. By the way, I just want to quickly clear the seams, since I still had some seams on this from experiments that I did before. They're just going to be in the way for now, so. And I also see here are some 90-degree turns again, and as I said, this is just for my consistency. Just going to bevel them, and I'll inflate this whole area a little bit because it's kind of ended up being a bit too much inside here. And the overall result looks quite good in my opinion. Let's move this up a bit as well with Alt S to inflate. I feel like it captures it all very well. Here I think we'll get away without a bevel, simply because here we can give it a little bit of a more gentle angle, which is doable. So one thing I want to do though is I will select this upper ring only and put it into a vertex group of its own, and then shrink wrap just that individual ring. Yeah, did it work? Yeah. Since that seemed a bit inaccurate, I wanted to make sure that it's all aligned nicely. So I'll apply that too, once again, and we can now merge these together and think about what to do next. Let's bring up our initial helmet one more time. There we go. And next I think we should bring in this part here in the front. What's the best way to select that? Okay, this is a bit convenient now. Since we have these seams, I can just go to the face select mode, hit L on this area, and it will just select this entire part. So let's just make a copy of that, separate that again. And we don't need this mesh anymore for now. Let's hide it. And for this one now, it would be nice to again just double the loops here, but only along these directions. So what we could try is to select these rings again, select rings, and see if that works out on the back side, which it doesn't really seem to, but we can still try to subdivide it, and yeah, it just seems to work out after all, so it's not too big of an issue. I am a bit worried though about whether we'll be able to make this smooth and everything, so let's give that a try now. I'll have to select all these edges around. Okay, careful not to make any wrong selection, and we'll also select all these other rings here. And we may as well go ahead and select this one. No, not this, over here. And that should be it for now. Now let's hit relax, maybe 3 times as usual. And I feel like that looks just fine. I'll also now as well select this one in the back, which we didn't touch before. I have to do it separate because they touch here, otherwise the tool will be a bit confused. And I think finally we'll just have to clean up the middle a little bit, because that is obviously not going to work out well for us. What I want to do is select this and use the grid fill feature. Now we can't see it, so I have to disable this for a sec. Just go to wireframe view for a second. I'll choose this to be sort of even, and then we just try to align it as good as we can with the top and the bottom. Yeah, this seems correct. Just see, yeah, I think this one will maybe help better. And I'll go ahead and bevel this one here. Then we'll select all of this in the middle without the back. Now I will smooth it a few times so that it's nice and even, and then we'll just project it onto the surface here. And alright, there is no issue with the material. Yeah, okay, to be honest, we really don't need that many divisions here. It's a bit unfortunate. And maybe we can try to get rid of some here. Let me think for a second. I mean, yeah, I think I'll have to think a little bit about it. I don't have a solution right away, but we'll see. Maybe I come up with something. I'll also bevel this edge here, and here we have an opening, so we can't really bevel here, so I'm just going to make a loop cut and scale it up a tiny bit. And if possible, I would like to slide these here down a little bit. Just make sure that you also move these together, which you have to do separate. Yeah, also let me quickly clear my seams, just because they're in the way a bit. Won't be needing those. And that should be good enough once again. Yeah, it is a bit a waste of of geometry, to be quite honest. But who knows? How much is it? Let me count quickly. Not that. Pretty much 100. Why is it 99? Is that a thing? 9 times 11 or something? Is that it? So it isn't even correct. Like, would have been nice to have like 10 by 10 instead of that. So this is 9. Yeah, that's 11. Well. Yeah, let me think a little bit about it if I can while doing all the other things. Yeah, he'll be a bit of a tricky spot as well when we merge that. And actually, let's go ahead and try to do that now. I'll merge these together, and we'll see if we can make them line up nicely. I'll have to add a loop through here so that lines up somewhat. And I will go ahead and merge these. I think at center will be the best idea. Merge center, merge at center. Or wait, did we didn't relax this loop around here. So let's relax this one as well. Glad I noticed. And now I think I'll do something different. Let's move it to here and merge this one at last. Just move it down a bit maybe. So maybe we'll do it around here. So that looks a bit better. Now, what should we do about this part? Another slightly tricky spot, but we could try to merge this to here, then merge this to here. It's not going to look great either way. Here we can maybe just go ahead and merge these two, and these two, and these two here, then fill this with a triangle. So that seems to work. But here we still have to fix this. This one we will probably end up merging. But I don't like how this is supposed to be sort of on the same level, but kind of... yeah. I think this is the best we can do. I think the right approach would be to just smooth it out and let the normal map take care of the rest. I mean, it's good enough, honestly. It's not too bad. And it makes me think if we really don't want to have a bevel on this, but yeah, we'll leave it. Now I'm not happy with this very much. But I don't really like the idea of having a triangle fan in the middle, especially not with this many points. I still have a feeling that this is the best we can do. But we'll try one more time just to see if we can make the number even. Grid fill. So this is now 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This should be even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. So that's the even number. And for the orientation, I mean, there is not really a center line, to be honest, so we'll just do whatever looks correct. I mean, we could try to follow the loops, and yeah, it wouldn't line up either way. Well, it doesn't really matter here at this point. Set that to 1 and set the iterations to, I don't know, just go with 100. Alright, and finally we'll have to snap this to the high polymesh. I kind of feel like that would be, well, nicerly done with a shrink wrap modifier, so we'll use that instead maybe. Just this group, and we'll snap it to the helmet. This time though, I might use the projection feature instead, positive and negative. And that should be just what I want. So let's apply that and see what we have here. Be nice to kind of have these a bit further out. Alright, let's keep this applied once, but keep a copy. Wait, this was not the right modifier. Here we are. Duplicate this, apply that, Now we scale this out a little bit. Select the inner region, deselect that. I'll scale this up a little bit, trying to keep it even. Let's smooth it just a little bit, not beyond one, maybe 2 iterations. And that seems smooth enough. So let's apply that one more time. And here we are. I mean, at least it's smooth and nice. It's a bit high poly, and I don't like that very much, but yeah, no good solution. Anyway, let's move on to the rest. So in comparison, I feel that this is now a little bit too low poly, so I'm just going to add a few extra loops here. Then we'll select all of these edges around here, and then we will need this one, and we'll just relax them. That should solve it all for us, basically. Kind of feel like we should bevel this as well, simply because, yeah, for consistency. I don't like to have everything high detail and then one part not match that level of detail, as I always say. You know, actually I should say this too. I feel that if I would do this kind of modeling in a production environment, I'd probably get in trouble. I mean, I think we're working here very cleanly and very beautifully with the topology, but still I feel like it's not very optimized. There's a lot of wasted things, and I would love to argue that the technical limitations aren't that bad anymore, but if you do this approach on a whole project, I mean, you know, if your model is 20% more than it needs to be, then the entire project is going to be 20% more than it needs to be. And storage for geometry, like the amount of memory it takes to save geometry, isn't actually that cheap. So it's very easy to go overboard with you know, just simply storage and file sizes for these things. So, you know, your game might easily go from 25 gigabytes to something like 30 for that kind of thing. So yeah, it's not easy to then just give up on the quality because of that. It's really a struggle, because artists want to create the best they can, but then if it doesn't work technically, what's the meaning? Anyway, here we are. I'm keeping the triangles up here, and let me just check if we can do anything up there. What did this look like again? Is that a... Okay, so that's supposed to be a smooth curve. So I'll just maybe move this in a bit and pull this one out. These seem to belong here. All right. Just gonna make it a bit more pointy. And I think we'll need another loop here. Let's see if I can do this by hand. Yeah, I think it's acceptable. It's not too bad. We'll just leave it like this without additional smoothing. And now these parts look good. Could remove this loop here. At least a little bit of improvement. Alright, finally we have the the bulk of the helmet left. Oh, and I kind of messed up copying here, so let's just remove this side as well so that it's even. Alright, and it would be nice if we can reuse something, so let's just go back to our initial geometry, and I'll copy over this section. I don't really want to change well, the basic yeah, that was some awkward topology here as well. We had this issue before that it wasn't really enough geometry, and I forced in another loop at the bottom. But yeah, this time we won't have that problem because we have a lot more geometry to work with. So I'm not going to copy that part. Oh, there's an inside as well. Huh? Bit confused. No, there isn't. What was I selecting? Maybe I was working on the high poly one instead. Let's go here. Around the horns for now. This is like this game where you can't go over the same square twice. There you go. Let's copy this, separate it, and I'll now, yeah, let's also hide the high poly one and see what we can do here. First of all, we'll need to subdivide around here, basically for all sides, because that's how we approached it. And yeah, I mean, I pretty much subdivided everything once, so if we just subdivide it all, it should pretty much be exactly what we need. So that was a lot easier than expected, so let's try now to make this work. I'm just gonna let's use shrink wrap and set the target to helmet high. I'm then going to quickly select these outer curves here for a moment and smooth them individually, because that is something that won't work with the next tool that I'm planning to use. So here, just these edges, quickly want them to be a bit smoother. This one we didn't really need to do. And here, this one as well. Did we not forget anything? I think we're fine. And now I want to use the slide and relax brush, and with shift, while holding shift, I'll just brush over all this and try to get the whole geometry smooth out. Just make it very smooth and nice and relaxed. So that should have fixed 90% of what we need. It's good to see that we now don't have an extra loop around here as well. This we'll do separately. Let's just make a copy of this for a moment and apply that. And it would be nice to maybe try to get a little bit closer to this before we merge it all together. Let me try to add here the necessary geometry. Then we'll add here a bit more geometry, just to get into the right zone. And as usual, it's placed a bit awkwardly within all of this, but we could try to now figure out how to connect it. So this lines up here. This could line up here. Very tricky as usual. So I think I found something that makes sense a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I can see it. Let's try something similar on the other side. At the moment it's still shrink wrapped to the geometry, so I'm not sure what I just clicked, but I think we're fine. This place is a little bit different. No, we're fine. Alright, there we go. I have thought of the layout. Let's just apply this quickly, and then we'll go ahead and merge everything. Merge this to that. Then I'll select these two edges. This one we can't select for the moment. So these should have the same number of vertices. Now I'll use the bridge edge loops feature. I'll select merge, and then you can select which side you want to slide it to, and I'll select this one because that was the one that I think I created more accurately. Just fix this part for a moment. Oh, we didn't even merge this side yet, I just realized. What about this side? Yeah, that should be just fine. Then next, I'm selecting this, deselect that one, so that makes it two edges, and we'll deselect this part here as well. Now that should line up once again. And let's select again which one we want to merge to. I feel like this is the correct one. Although I'm not sure. Yeah, it seems a bit nicer here. And now let's just fix this part. Merge these at center for now. We'll fix the positioning a bit later. And here we need to do the same thing we did on the other side. So we begin by merging these. What did we even do here? Just that. Alright, we didn't do this. We separated that. We merged these two together and these two. That's what we did. You know what else we could do? I think I have a better idea for that. I think I want to bevel this edge as well, and have it go around here. So I'm just going to go ahead and force the bevel in here, and now we'll clean up the area. So fill in like this and fill in like this. Did that work out? Yeah, that worked out. So we'll maybe clean it up a little bit in a second, but for now that's fine. Merge this at center, or maybe not. I think it's fine. Then we need to delete this edge, and I think we had a triangle here, and this one just filled in like this. So that looks nice now. We just need to clean up the geometry here a tiny bit. I'm not very happy with this, to be honest, as well, because it really stretches the quad into a shape that's not very natural to it. So we could try to, although we're wasting again a bit of geometry here, I should mention, could just do this and then do the fill thing that we had before. That gives us a chance to just give it a bit more space to find, you know, a good topology, a good distribution. Grid fill, and that should just work out fine. Now we just need to smooth it, and I also want to quickly get my high resolution helmet in so that we can snap this to the surface. and we'll smooth it as much as we can. There we go. Now a few more spots that I think I want to fix. Well, first of all, we don't have this area here. Oh, and yeah, we have a lot of work to do. So let's continue. So here what I want to do is, I mean, this is just going to be rough, but I think that's sort of what we need to do in this area. Almost all triangle. Let's see if I'll get in trouble for this. And here we do triangle, triangle, triangle. Here we do quad. As long, I personally feel like as long as there's a system to the use of triangles, it's still okay. And yeah, we'll have to look at the mesh below it as well, because I feel like that is not quite what it looks like, but we'll do that in a second. Here is a bit different, I believe, what I want to do. We have to go a bit diagonally because of the way this is placed. And here we do this, and then this, and this. Then we do this. Here, here, here. Here, here. We do a triangle on this side. And that kind of wraps it up as well. Yeah, I'm not very happy with this, but I'm afraid there is not much we can do. But we'll do our best in, with some little improvements in a bit. So first of all, I feel like we can do a bit of a sharper transition here. So I'll select all of these. I'll just rip them apart, and without the snapping tools on, and then we'll just focus on putting these onto the transition for a moment, so that they're flat on the helmet. That will also help to reduce some of the artifacts as well. So these go here, this goes here and here. And here we have two more. Looks alright, and then we can just bridge these, but uncheck merge this time around. So that is a bit better, and we can even go ahead and add a little bit of a bevel here. So I'm just going to disable my snapping tools again and bevel this out. Here we'll have to just manually push them out maybe. Yeah, a bit tricky. Maybe we'll just place them manually like this. I keep it smooth on purpose so that the normal map can, really take care of this place. Here. So let's take a look. Did that work out for us? I feel like it did. So yeah, it's not too bad. We have, of course, some artifacts, and also this here looks quite bad, but I mean, what can we do really? And one thing we can do actually here is we should probably keep this apart. I didn't realize that that was still merged to one point. Oh, actually it wasn't, but the vertices were in one spot. So glad I noticed that little mistake. That would have been a bit troublesome. So yeah, just keep it a bevel all around. That works. I would kind of like to keep it a bit thick as well. It doesn't really have to be super sharp, even if it seems to be in the design. And let me do similar things on the other side as well. First of all, let's create our bevel down here. So snap these a bit away from this transition. Looks right. And then let's just check if the shape is good. That doesn't seem to be an issue here. And one last area that I thought a bit about, which I would like to improve, is a bevel here. But do we do that or not? Actually, I think I might just leave it as is. I was thinking that we could do a bevel here, but it's not really needed. But I mean, we'll end up relying more on a normal map. That's just the thing. Yeah, so yeah, I think we have to only do the inside here quickly. Let's just delete that. Extrude it all in like this. We'll hit circle and make it flatten it as well while we're at it. And I will leave it open because I think we'll just end up wasting more geometry in the center. Yeah, these vertices aren't really needed, but I just like to keep things clean for this project. Go ahead and flatten this area as well. So now we can be sure that it's all nice and smooth. Yeah, there we go. So this is our updated low poly version for the helmet. It's now a lot smoother and just works better for us. I could try to now make this a bit smoother as well. Feel like that's the way to go, maybe. Oh, actually I forgot one last step that I wanted to take here, which didn't even seem necessary anymore, but I still want to do it quickly. I'll take we don't need these face sets. I'll take the slide brush and just fix some of these regions a little bit. So we don't even need to snap it back onto the mesh, I believe. This is just very minor. Yep, that should do. That's fine. The front we won't touch. There we go. So that was a bit of a tricky part again, but we managed to up the resolution quite a bit. If you compare it to the previous version, it looks a lot smoother now. And it will give us a better result even when we're close up. Much better than, you know, all these corners on the silhouette, which would have bothered me at least. So I don't know, where should we put this now? I don't want to throw it away. We'll just throw it into... We'll make a new collection. Call it trash. So... helmet logos in here. We'll hide that. Actually, let's maybe disable it. I feel like that will be more useful. And where's the rest? Oh yeah, here we go. Let's hide the high poly stuff for a second. There we go. Helmet done. Body done. Arms are done. This is done. I realized the cape has actually a bit of a different shape than what we created originally. It would be nice to have this kind of, yeah, almost half broken effect on it, but that might be something we should do with textures. I'm still a bit thinking about that. But the last part we need to do really is just what we kind of skipped here on the leg. There's one little detail that we need to do. Otherwise, I believe we're done, and as for this part, I'll think a bit more about it. Maybe I have an idea, or maybe we'll go back to the triangle fan. I'll have to just check what I want to do with this, think a bit about it. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're not in any trouble. That was another very long video, 50 minutes, wow. Anyway. Let's save that, and I'll see you next time.